Good evening and welcome to our Smyrna Town Council workshop to set our agenda for our December meeting. Before we move into our items for discussion, I'm going to ask Hal Laughlin to do our prayer, and I'm going to ask Heather Kent to lead us in the pledge, if you'll stand with us.
Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for this opportunity to come before you and open this meeting in prayer. Thank you, Father, for those that are represented here, the mayor and council and the city employees that you have chosen and given the favor and wisdom to be about the business of the town. Father, we especially ask for favor and a peace that only you know how to impart to the Winton and the Campbell families who have had losses this week. Be with them and comfort them during this time. Father, I also ask for you to put a hedge of protection around those that serve our community, our fire and our police, as we go into this holiday season, and just give them a protection and a comfort that only you can impart on them. Father, we thank you for this opportunity. We ask for safe travels for those that are traveling this Thanksgiving week, and we're thankful for you and all that you've done for us, Father. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Hal. Heather? Okay, before we move into our items for discussion tonight, Brian, we have a discussion on TML state shared sales tax legislation.
Actually, Mayor, it is a TML. It's a video that I'd like to share with the council. I think most of you have seen it through the email, but I also felt like it was important for us to share this with our citizens so you have an understanding of how sales tax breaks down from the state and back to the locals. So it's a quick, it's about a 2.5 minute video. So we'll go ahead and play that video, and then I'll answer any questions that we may have.
So how does the sales tax work in Tennessee? Today, a customer walks into a store anywhere in Tennessee and they purchase one item for $100. The sales tax in Tennessee has two major components, the state rate of 7% and a local option sales tax rate between 1.5% and 2.75%. Every town, city, and county in the state has a local option sales tax rate that was adopted by a vote of the citizens in those communities. The local option sales tax rate was created by the state as a way to fund both the local governments and local schools where the tax is collected. So depending where this $100 item is being purchased, it may be subject to a maximum rate of 9.75%. For our example, let's assume it's the maximum rate. The seller collects $9.75 on this $100 item and sends it to the state along with the sales tax collected from all other sales. What happens to that $9.75? $7 were collected under the state rate, and this is treated differently than the $2.75 collected as local option sales tax. Let's start with the $7 collected under the state rate. 50 cents is dedicated directly to the Basic Education Program, or BEP, the primary funding mechanism for education spending in Tennessee. The other $6.50 goes directly to the state's general fund, which is the primary source of funding for all state expenditures. Notably, no fees are taken from these revenues. The same can't be said for the $2.75 collected under the local option sales tax rate. After being received by the state, the Tennessee Department of Revenue charges a small fee for processing before sending the revenue back out to the county trustee where the tax was collected. This county trustee sends half of the revenues to the local school. Finally, the other half is sent back to your town or city, but not before the county trustee takes a second fee. So when it comes to funding local governments through the sales tax, only $1.33 of the $2.75 collected using the local option sales tax rate makes it back to fund the operations and activities of the town or city levying the tax. Every penny matters when it comes to maintaining the quality of life in your community.
Mayor, I think this gives us a great example of, how taxes are collected and what actually comes back to the local. And to play off of my good friend H.G. Cole's Shop Local, that's why it's so important that we shop local to make sure that at least that $1.33 is getting back to our local community and goes into the coffers to help us offset property tax and those kind of things as we build our budget. So, I just thought it was a great lesson on how taxes are broken down and how they work through the state after collection. We'll try to get this out on our webpage as well, so people will have an opportunity to be able to look at this video. But again, thank you for allowing us to share that. It was just a good exercise in understanding, so.
Well, and not only, it's important that if you work in Murfreesboro or in Nashville, if you've got to do shopping and stuff, come back here to do it. Don't shop local in regards to a locally owned business in Nashville or Murfreesboro or somewhere else. Come back home to do it, so. Council,
Yeah, there was a time when you couldn't buy everything you need in
Yep.
Smyrna or even Murfreesboro.
Yep.
There was a time you had to go to Nashville, and most of us remember that, I'm sure. And I know that our council and even Murfreesboro's council and the councils before us have worked hard to get retail here so that you wouldn't have to drive to Nashville or drive to Franklin to get what you need. And we've worked hard to do that, but now we need to make sure that everyone's actually doing that, because that's how we get more revenue or more retail and keep your taxes low.
okay.
Well, we also, when we talk about shopping local, one of the other aspects of it is the profits from whatever that we're buying are returned to our community through the people who work there, the people who own the businesses, and in that manner, in addition to just the taxes. So, if we've got to shop at Walmart in Smyrna, but then if we can find a local business that's locally owned, then that's one step closer to supporting our community.
Agree. Okay, any other questions or comments on this? Brian, thanks for bringing that. I'm glad TML put that together. I think it's pretty easy to understand, and I think it's important that we get it out. Okay, we only have 13 items tonight, so our first item is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an easement agreement with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for roadway connections to Florence Road. Hey, Tom.
So this easement agreement came to us from the Army Corps. There's a section of Florence Road that is technically in Army Corps property. We have an easement over that section. There are some little stubs of Edgewood Drive, Deer Road, and Lake Farm Road that connect to Florence Road that are technically in U.S. Corps property that do not have easements on it. So this, I guess, kind of cleans it up and gives us easement access to be able to have people drive to Florence Road from these roads.
Any questions on this?
Now, do all of those roads already connect to Florence, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we're just basically cleaning up road that's already there.
Right.
Okay. I was gonna ask that same thing, because I live off one of those roads, and so
Yeah.
I was like, are they trying to make some
Yeah.
additional road entrances? But it's just to put the easement, because it's in there.
Right.
It's part of the core.
Yes.
Okay.
Tom, Sam Davis Road doesn't open up to Florence, does it?
No, it does not go to Florence Road. No, it comes, when Sam Davis crosses Nissan Drive, then it goes to, I think, Ben John's, and I think
Well,
another.
there's a street back in there called Sam Davis Road there. And I don't think
Okay.
it goes
Sam
through.
Davis Drive,
It's on the
I think
map
it's
here.
drive.
Okay.
Huh?
Yeah,
Drive, not road.
there's
Well, it
two
shows
of them.
road on the map, on
It's
this
back in-
particular map.
It's back in Richmond Place subdivision. I think it dead ends into a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, it doesn't, I drive
Yeah,
Florence Road
it,
pretty regularly, it does not come out
Yeah.
of Florence, so.
Yeah, it looks like there's a cul-de-sac there.
The map has a little red designation on it here, the one that's in our packet there.
I'll find
I
out
wasn't
what
sure
that
if there
is.
was Plans to open that or anything?
I don't have any plans to, but I'll find out why that is in red and let you know next. Or I'll talk to Brian and get that email out to you.
Well, I see it now, yeah, up to the top.
Other questions? Okay, we'll move on to item 2, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Morton Salt to purchase road salt.
Yes, we finally got our contract with Morton Salt. They are selling at a rate in Rutherford County, and we got the same rate through Rutherford County in the DOT area here. We got the same rate as DOT at $109.40 per ton.
Questions for Tom?
What did we pay last year?
I think it was, for what I remember, I thought it was close to like $80, $85 a ton. Just about 3 years ago, it was $65 a ton.
Other questions? Item 3, approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with TDOT for the Lowry Street Phase 3 sidewalk project.
Yes, this is a contract for the multimodal access grant. It's a $1 million grant that we received on a 95%, 5% match, so we're paying 5%. TDOT picks up 95% of the cost, and it's basically to install a sidewalk from Enon Springs along Lowry Street up to Sam Davis Road.
Questions on this?
So is this a continuation of what we already have in place with them for that part of the sidewalks? Is this really like a continuation? Or
It is.
But I understand it's a whole separate contract, but it's to continue what we're already doing.
Yes, yeah, there's the Phase 1 we're in construction on now, then there's Phase 2, which is just north of Phase 1 up to like Harts Branch, from Jackson Street up to like Harts Branch, and then this goes the opposite direction from downtown to Enon Springs.
And I see where it's like a 5-year contract, but it's gonna start before then, right?
Yeah, they usually set them as a 5-year contract, and then it can be extended as long as you're still working on it. Otherwise, if you're not working on it, they take the money back.
Okay.
Other questions? Okay, we'll move on to item 4, which is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract extension with USIC for locating services. Mark?
Evening, Mayor, Council. Pinch hitting for Mike. He's off this week for the holiday.
He's probably
this-
off, he's probably off because of that loss for Tennessee. He's probably having a crying fit at
That hurt
home.
all the way around.
So, not for all of us, but you
He's
tell him I said that,
I'm
okay?
sure he's
Okay,
already heard it more than once.
okay, good.
Yep. But Mayor, this is a 1-year extension of our locating contract with USIC. This will push us into year 2 of the contract.
Questions for Mark on this? I think the other night was a pretty good example for,
Well, that was a different story the other night, Mayor, but USIC has done a good job for the most part with us, and it's really helped relieve some stress on our utilities department. As you guys know, we continue to search out for good employees, and our people are working pretty hard to just stay abreast of the work we have. So being able to get the locates done by a third-party contractor has helped us immensely.
great. Okay, item 5 is approval of the terms of and authorization for the mayor to execute an agreement with Paul Corporation for the purchase of ancillary parts to refill the membrane filtration module racks out to 112 modules per rack.
Yes, ma'am. These are miscellaneous parts that are needed to finish the install of the modules to go from 90 to 112 per rack. There's 6 racks to plant. So this will just finish it. This will finish the build out of all the modules in those racks. So doesn't give us increased capacity, but it does give us increased redundancy at the plant. So that as we're cycling the modules for air scrubs or for maintenance purposes, it lets us keep a steadier flow of water to the plant. So that's why these parts and pieces are needed.
Questions for Mark on this? Okay, we'll move on to item 6. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Consideration approval of the proposed employee benefit additions for the 2023 calendar year.
Mayor and Council, Jeff's making his way to the podium to discuss some of this with you. You've got it in your packet. Jeff and I have been working for about a month and a half or so to look at some of our benefits and anything we can do to add to our benefits, to the benefit of our employees. But also, I think it's important, and Jeff can talk to this some of these benefits will actually be changing at a federal level, so we'll have to come into some compliance on some of these. Some of them are just best practices, and some costs that are associated with making these benefit changes are in your packet. Rex worked with us on the financial side of this puzzle for the benefits. But Jeff, if you'll just walk us through those, and then we'll answer any questions you may have.
Sure. Mayor, Council, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about these, and Brian, to be open to listening to these possible enhancements. The first one is looking at our retirement savings plan. Currently, employees have to wait at least 6 months before being able to invest in retirement, before they can get the 3% that the town gives. And so what we're recommending is removing the 6-month wait, and it would start the same time all the other benefits start, so the first of the month following 30 days of service. You can see the cost that's estimated there as well. The second part of that change to the retirement savings plan is currently the town does 3% regardless of if employees contribute. And then in addition to that, we match 50% of an employee's contribution up to 6%. So if an employee gives 6%, the town matches another 3%. And so what we're recommending is that we match up to 8%, meaning that if an employee gives 8%, the town would give 4%. So basically, 1 more percent that the town would match is what we're asking for. And you can see some of the estimated expenses with that. Any questions about the retirement enhancements before I move on to some of these other things?
Jeff, if you don't mind,
Sure.
if you have the number with you, share with them, I mean, from a standpoint, one of the things we've been concerned about is how many of our employees are actually in the program and participating in the program. Of course, all of them get the 3% after 6 months because that's what the town puts into their investment for them. But I was pleasantly surprised at the number of actual folks that are involved in additional funding, so.
Yeah, Rex ran some of the numbers, and I was surprised as well, but we're a little over 70% and people doing the full match.
Wow.
So that's really good. It means people are planning for their future, and so that's exciting to see that. And so we're hoping that this will help benefit people as well, making this change.
That's great.
The next thing that you've got on things for consideration is changing our PTO accrual rates. And looking at what some of our peers are doing across the state, we're trying to be as competitive as possible, so we are recommending some changes to that. If you see in that first column, it says current. So for an employee right now with 0 to 4 years of service, they get 18 days of PTO. We are recommending that go to 23. And then for an employee with 5 to 9 years of service, their PTO right now is 23. We would recommend 26. And then for someone with 10 years of service, currently gets 28 days, we're recommending 30. And then for someone with 15 years of service, we're recommending 32. And so those are the recommendations for increasing PTO accrual. In addition to that, some of the towns, some of the cities have a separate bereavement leave policy. And talking with Brian, we feel it's best to kind of just roll that all up into all of our PTO. So that does take that into consideration as well.
Questions for Jeff on that one?
This is full-time employees only.
Correct. That's correct, Steve.
Right.
The next thing is basic life insurance. If you remember, it's probably 2 years ago, we changed from about a $20,000 basic life insurance policy to $50,000. That was very well received from employees. One of the things that I've seen is that employers are doing a one-time salary. And so what we're recommending is a one-time salary with a $50,000 minimum. So if you're making $45,000, you would still keep your $50,000 policy, but if you're making $75,000, you'd have a $75,000 policy. So it's a very minimal expense to add that extra coverage, and so that's why we're recommending moving to a one-time salary for the basic life insurance policy. The next section is some changes to our medical plan, enhanced medical plan. Currently, hearing aids are not covered under our plan unless you're under the age of 18, so it's only for children with hearing issues. And so what we're requesting is to add a hearing aid benefit for adults, and the benefit is limited to 2 devices per lifetime. And so that's the first enhancement. The second one is adding a fertility treatment benefit. Currently, the plan doesn't cover any fertility treatments. It does cover the diagnostic to say that someone is infertile, but it doesn't cover any fertility treatments. It can be very expensive. If any of you know anybody that's gone through this, $40,000, $50,000 to try to go through these treatments. And so what we're recommending is a lifetime max of $10,000 benefit. So someone that would offset some of those expenses for the employee. Obviously, it's not going to cover all those expenses, but it would be a nice benefit to help offset some of those expenses families are having to take on. Any questions about those two?
Let me point out one thing, because this is important. When we go to the hearing, it covers up to 2 devices lifetime. If you have left and right ear, that's 2 devices. It's because some people need
not a
one.
pair.
Yeah, it's not. You can get a pair, but if you just have hearing loss in the right ear, you could get up to 2 right ear over time, lifetime. But if you have hearing loss in both ears, that's 2 devices is one set, so.
Just, because I don't have any knowledge in this area, and someone your age might have more knowledge in this area.
I'm not wearing hearing devices.
Does a pair or 2 devices, I mean, do those last? Is this enough coverage?
I can't hear what you're saying, but I'm happy to tell you, I don't have any knowledge of that.
I'm just, seriously, I'm concerned that, is it enough, right? If someone has a hearing problem and is one set of
I
hearing
think
aids for a
the-
lifetime
I
enough?
think the biggest problem is people, because they are small devices that go in the ear, from time to time they get lost. And I think that's probably more of the issue than actually replacing. But right now, we have no coverage, so I think it's a start for us to be able to get, help to those people that have hearing loss, that are in that age bracket that would be a little more on the mature side. Yeah, experienced. But no,
Yeah, I knew you already had back surgery. I didn't want to pile on.
Say what?
Thanks. I guess, since at this point we have no real visibility into the impact, if later down the road, next year or 2 years, we find out that,
and I think
this
that's what
really
we would
isn't
do, is
enough,
we would
then,
continue to monitor,
Yeah.
what our needs are, but at least at this point, we would be able to help some of our folks that do have concerns.
Right. Gotcha. Thanks.
One thing that happens with hearing aids is the technology changes. And they may last, but they
Well, that'd be a good point, right? If the technology changes, if you already used your benefit, you can't take advantage of a
Right.
better technology, right? Without paying out of pocket.
And I see both sides of that equation because, just like with telephones, we've got some people that immediately when a new phone comes out wants a new phone, but the old phone still works.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things we have to protect against, that if every 8 months a new hearing aid comes out and I need to go get a new one because it's a new one, that's not really the intent of the benefit. We want to help you with that issue and be reasonable in our benefit policy, so.
Okay. Gotcha.
of course, we buy new glasses every year.
Some do,
I'm just saying, it's
Yeah.
it's in the plan.
right, I understand.
Okay. I think that's something we probably can revisit.
can- yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So the next bullet point is talking about creating what's called a retirement health reimbursement account for employees that are near age 65 and would like to go ahead and retire early, but don't have medical coverage and wouldn't have medical coverage if they quit working for us. And the insurance committee, when they met, they really wanted to try to come up with some kind of a plan that would help benefit employees that were age 62, 63, 64, or almost 65, have some coverage if they wanted to go ahead and quit employment with the town. Right now, we don't have retiree health benefits for employees. And I'm not necessarily recommending that because it's extremely costly, but this is a solution that I think could help. And so with this solution, the town would set up a retiree health reimbursement account, and we would fund it up to $20,000 a year, and it would be to reimburse an employee for premiums in the Affordable Care Act. So they went out to the marketplace to get health insurance, and what we've priced is something as comparable to ours as possible. It's the Gold Plan. And if they wanted to spend that on their individual coverage, we would reimburse that up to $20,000 a year. And they would have it until they reached age 65, at which point they would go on Medicare, and that health reimbursement account would no longer exist.
So they're not staying on ours.
Correct. So they
We're
won't stay on our
providing them.
plan. So in some ways, having them off our medical plan, we're not paying for any claims.
Right.
So if someone were to have a heart attack or a stroke or was in an accident and had those expenses, we wouldn't pay those. Their new insurance would pay it. So this is really just saying, hey, we want to make sure you have good health coverage. We're willing to give you some monies to pay for those premiums on your own.
But there is a vested time of service too. This,
Correct.
just like, and I'll use myself as an example. I'm a 4.5 year, almost 5 year employee, and I would meet some of that criteria. I'm not eligible. I think it's 15
15 years
years
is
of
what we're
service
recommending.
to be eligible to participate in that plan.
And they have to be 62
They
or
have to be
older.
62 with 15 years
Okay.
of service.
Thanks, Brian.
Once they reach 65, if there's still money in there, they get back.
No, because it's just for reimbursement of premiums, so that there's no more premiums, then the account doesn't get reimbursed
So
anymore.
it just, basically, if there's anything, they lose it if there's anything left in there.
So it's really not so much they won't have a lump sum in that account. Basically, what happens is they'll turn in their premium information to us, and then the company that we've talked to about handling this will send them a reimbursement every month for those premiums.
Yeah, it's-
So basically, when they hit age 65, they'll just stop getting reimbursements for that premium.
Yeah, it's not an employee-owned fund, it's a company reimbursement essentially.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, you know, if you had somebody 62 that decided, had 15 years service, thinks they want to retire, and then a year later they want to go back to work and they have insurance, then there would not be the reimbursement. It's only for that time that they're in the retirement phase.
I think it sounds pretty fair.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. The next thing is paid family leave, and this is one of the things that kind of Brian was alluding to. Currently, the federal government does provide up to 12 weeks of paid parental leave. And looking around at our peers, there's still a lot of local government that's not doing this, but I do know that Metro is doing it. Metro has a paid family leave policy that provides up to 6 weeks of paid leave, and that's what Brian and I are recommending. It would be used to care for a spouse, son, daughter, or parent who has a serious health condition, so not for the employee themselves. They would continue to use PTO for that. But if they had a family member that was ill, basically this would run concurrent with family medical leave. So if you had someone that had a serious health condition and you were taking family medical leave, which currently is unpaid, you would have some paid benefit up to 6 weeks per year for that benefit. Any questions on that?
Yeah, so this doesn't, if it's for a family member, it doesn't hit their PTO, so they could
Correct.
use their PTO and then use their 6 weeks or vice versa to
Correct.
make it congruent, right? Okay.
Or if, you know, they had a family member that, or a new child, you know, birth in the family, take an FMLA and not use their PTO, so that when they come back to work and, you know, maybe they need a week
Yeah,
off
they
to
still have
rest
some
or something,
time,
they still
right.
have that time, because this would all be covered under the FMLA.
Gotcha.
And there's indications that this is gonna be something that's gonna be coming from the federal
Yeah, I
side.
think this will be here before long. You know, it's not necessarily next year, but I think it's coming, and I think it would be exciting for us to be on the front end of that. It would kind of give us a little leg up on some of our peers in the local government area. I'm currently trying to work with Metro to get a copy of their policy. We've been playing phone tag with their HR director, so if you guys do approve to move forward with this, we'll be bringing back a policy to go into the handbook that you guys will have ability to look at as well.
Okay.
And then finally, the tuition reimbursement program. So we've had a tuition reimbursement program for quite some time that provided up to $3,500 per year for an employee to go back to school to get a degree. That hasn't changed since I've been here. I've been here 15 years, and I know tuition continues to climb and be expensive. And so what we're recommending is a slight increase to that benefit, going from $3,500 a year to $5,000 a year in reimbursement for someone going back to school to get a degree. Any questions on that?
I'm glad to see that we're continuing to provide extra benefits to our employees. I think getting the word out to let them know that these benefits are available is something that's really important. But I think as much as we can do to provide what we can above their salary, I think is good for the town.
If adopted, these would take effect January 1st.
Yes.
Other questions for Jeff? Okay, we'll move on to item 7, which is consideration of a resolution relative to a plan of services for property located on tax map 54, parcels 5703, 5704, and 5705. Hey, Kevin.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is the plan of services for the next item on your agenda there, the annexation request. This is put it in writing, what the services the town will be providing upon the effective date of annexation, which is, in this case, is all services except for water, which would be provided by CUD. Planning Commission did recommend approval.
Questions on this? These are second reading items. So 8 goes along with this, consideration of an ordinance relative to the annexation and PRD zoning of property located on tax map 54, parcels 5703, 57.04, 57.05, requested by Paul Lebovitz on behalf of Porfino Alfredo, containing 96/100ths of an acre. The property is located at the corner of Rocky Fork Amable Road and Briley Road. This is a second reading.
Yeah, this is an annexation and a PRD request. It's basically right at the intersection, just southwest corner of the intersection of Rocky Fork Allenville Road and Briley Road. Land use plan would support medium density, single family in this area. The surrounding zoning in town is PRD, which are the Derby Run and Cedar Hills PRD, and the RM in Rutherford County. CUD has indicated there is adequate fire flow for residential development in this area. A developer would be required to extend sewer to this development from Derby Run. This PRD is a small one, is only for 5 single-family lots. Staff did recommend and Planning Commission concurred to annex approximately 300 linear feet of the existing right-of-way of Briley Road as a part of this request. Proposed houses would be 1,900 to 2,400 square feet. They'll be finished with stone and concrete siding. One little caveat in this one, or one little difference here, the developer did request a 25-foot front setback along Briley Road for Lot 2. There would be a side entry garage on that lot. Would allow for enough room to park 4 vehicles in a driveway, as long as they did widen the driveway to the full 20-foot width, which was a condition of the recommendation. All the driveways are shown correctly. They all have the 35-foot front setbacks. So the Planning Commission did review this, did recommend approval with that one condition regarding the one driveway. And staff would also recommend approval.
Questions for Kevin on this one? Okay, we'll move on to item 9, the consideration of a resolution and memorandum of ordinance 22-43 relative to the annexation and PRD zoning of property located on tax map 54, parcels 57.03, 57.04, and 57.05. This is our housekeeping item that's required by statute to go along with ordinances for annexation, so we will put that on our agenda. We'll move on to item 10, which is consideration of an appointment of one member for the Town of Municipal Industrial Development Board to serve an unexpired term ending in 2025. We did receive an application for that today, but if there's someone who is interested still, you are welcome to put in an application as well. Item 11 is consideration of an appointment of one member of the Stormwater Advisory Committee to serve an unexpired term ending in 2024. We have not received, I do not believe, an application for that. So if someone is interested in stormwater, you can apply on our website. And our last one is consideration of an appointment of one member to serve an unexpired term on the Rutherford County Library System Board ending in 2024. We've also received one application for that, but if there's someone else who thinks they might be interested, you are welcome to apply, and we will appoint these on at our December meeting. Council, anything you want to say on any of those 3? Okay, we are down to other.
Mayor Council, I do have one item that I'd like to share under other tonight. Mayor Council, you have challenged the town manager and the town management team to continue to, as we looked at our benefits a few minutes ago and talked about some of the things that we can do to enhance for our employees. You've asked us, especially in this economic time, to make sure we're watching the salary levels and the salaries of our employees. I would like to ask tonight for a consideration of putting a placeholder on the December 6th council meeting. I would like to bring forward at that meeting a proposal for salary adjustments for the town employees that we'd have to vote on 2 times. And of course, if we could bring it forward on December the 6th and then look at bringing a special called meeting at our council workshop at the end of December for implementation, possibly early January, and make some changes.
I think from the beginning, the first time you sat in that chair back in that conference room and we talked to you about this position, the thing that we talked about was that we wanted to make sure our employees are always taken care of. And I think you, as well as the department heads, have listened to that. And I appreciate the fact that you're bringing this forward, especially with the economic times we're living in right now. And so I'm excited to see what you all have to bring forward, and anything that can help our employees, I think this council will be supportive of.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Council, anything?
Just, thank you, Brian, for staying on top of this. 6 months ago, we made an adjustment, and we talked then that we didn't get everyone where we wanted to, but we couldn't just move some folks up 20 or 30%, right? So we talked about then we would have to relook at some of these. And, I'm glad to see you're staying on top of it and keeping up with that, because I don't want, any more time go by than has to before we can try to make people whole, or even increase them to the point where they're kind of keeping up with inflation and some of the other costs that all of us are feeling right now. So appreciate that.
It's a hard market for anything right now, and I think most of us probably remember back to the days of 2009, 2010, when we didn't know how to pay people out necessarily. It got hard. We had a lot of attrition. I said that's one time I'll never forget, serving on this council, to watch how employees were having to leave. And so to take it, 12, 13 years forward now, and be able to say with soundness and with the ability to be able to do it as a town, I think it's incumbent on us to do it. I think Mayor Reed just said that, and that was one of the things I know when we interviewed you, and any prior town managers have been here before you. One of the things we want to make sure of is that our employees are compensated fairly. And benefit-wise, I appreciate Jeff Craig and his team bringing in these adjustments to some of the programs he's mentioned tonight. I know that the field for employment out there is very competitive, and it's tough. People are looking to fill positions right now, and they might not even necessarily be able to find the people. So I think it's incumbent on us as a council, you as a town manager, and our staff to make sure these employees are looked after in a way that we don't have to worry about that as much as maybe other communities. And we're very fortunate, very blessed to have the wherewithal to do it. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. And we have a great employee base, but we do struggle, to find good quality employees, and we are competing in this market. Over the last 2 weeks, I've had the opportunity to have lunch with 2 of our industrial plants here in town, plant managers, and talking with them about what they're having to do and the things that they're having to change about their market to get employees. The one thing that I would say on behalf of our employees, as your town manager and as the management team, as we talk, Mark, although I didn't live through that time that there were layoffs here at the town of Smyrna, trust me, I have heard the stories, not just from you as council, but from our own employees and how brutal that was. We're trying to stay lean and mean, and we're asking our employees to do so much more with so much less. And that's true with industry as a whole. So it's a lot easier for us if we have the ability to reward the existing employees versus losing an employee and having to retrain them or send them through certification at the fire department or certification at the police department and invest money in them and have them leave us, for 50 cents an hour down the street. It's incumbent on us to do the right thing and step up. And I think, that's one of the things we're looking at is balancing not only the employees and the need to keep and retain our good employees, plus be able to bring on employees. We're also balancing that against the revenue streams and those kind of things. So, as I've told a couple of you, whatever we can do today versus waiting, 6 months to make a change, if we can help, lift that employee up and put stabilization in their life, that's what we need to be doing. And that's the reason I feel strongly about bringing this to the council, because I also know the heart of this council. And I know each and every one of you want to take care of our employees. And that's what I want to put before you.
Great. Okay. Other, Hal, anything tonight? Mark, anything?
No, ma'am.
Steve? Rex? Dun, da, da, da.
Yes, ma'am.
Charles.
This has got to be a Lowry Street update, doesn't it?
Yes, that's one of them, but like first start off with Lee Victory Rec Park. We were able to get the temporary striping down this afternoon, and we will be opening that road tomorrow. The contractor is still working with their bonding company to get the permanent markings in, but I just felt we were running out of weather for that, so we were able to do a temporary paint, and that will allow us to get it open. Lowry Street, poured another block of sidewalk today. We're about 50% sidewalks, and they're continuing on. The other is graded, so we are progressing on well on that. Jeannie Lane, the contractor has started work on that, and they will start grading next week. In Spring Hill, we got the TDEC permit today, and they'll start clearing on it on Thanksgiving and start grading on it in January.
Questions for Charles?
All
Thank
right,
you, sir.
thank you.
Carl?
Go ahead.
Tom? Kevin?
I'll make sure Charles isn't the only one that comes up today. I actually do have some good news.
Is it about Whataburger?
No, it's not about Whataburger. It's about FEMA, and they finally have told us we're gonna have new flood maps after a 2-year delay. So they're gonna be effective May 9th of next year. We don't have the actual maps yet, but we got a letter saying they're coming. So I just wanna let the council and everyone know, we are gonna finally, which will help some people out and hurt some people. That's the way it's gonna be. But anyway, we are gonna have some new maps after 15 years.
Kevin, just for the public out there, if somebody's denoted to finally be in a FEMA flood zone that perhaps haven't been in the past, FEMA will notify them, I'm sure, to let them know they've changed their maps. And
FEMA will
perhaps
either
would have to
notify
get
them or-
insurance against that.
It may be that their insurance agency will probably be FEMA to any notification,
Right.
most likely. Typically, it's what happens. But yes, they will be.
And vice versa, if somebody's removed from a floodplain.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Insurance company's probably not gonna be fixing that.
probably not gonna call us quick.
Other questions for Kevin? Thanks.
Sure.
Mike Moss, we're glad you could join us tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything?
No, ma'am.
Todd? Heather? Chief? Kimberly?
Just happy Thanksgiving. That's it.
How's your dad?
He's good. He's in the VA rehab facility in Biloxi, and he's in good spirits. So good. He's got some new hardware and scars, but he's gonna be all right.
Great. Ron D?
Mayor and Council, I do have a couple of things I'd like to share with you tonight before I get to the formal presentation on the screen. A couple of things. Jerry Short said I could share this. He sent me a note over the weekend thanking one of our officers, Devontae Johnson, and I happen to know Devontae, and he is a good officer and does a really good job for us. But unfortunately, the Shorts got to visit with him because somebody stole Patty's wallet. And I thought I'd take advantage tonight of announcing congratulations to Devontae and the great work he's doing, but also a reminder, we are in the season of the holidays, and there's going to be a lot of people out there shopping. Some of them will be shopping from the shelves of the store and going through the checkout. Some will be shopping in your wallets and in your pocketbooks. Do everything you can to protect yourself this time of the year. We do have a lot of people out there. I think our police department has got some help with some video and stuff that may help us find that person, but unfortunately, Jerry was sharp enough to get his credit cards and stuff turned off, but his wife lost her driver's license and some of those things, and it takes time and effort to go back through all those processes and get that done. So do everything you can to protect yourself during this season. The other thing I had to announce tonight, very happy to announce that Chief Bill from our fire department sent me a notice. One of our firefighters, Mr. Abed, is the new dad, and his wife is the new mom of a new baby girl that was born to their family earlier this month. And then I talked to Ricky Bounds today, who works in our streets department, and he became a new grandfather last night with Riley Stone Bounds, was born last night. And then also back here in the back, and I'm gonna do this without calling Charles back to the microphone, because he'll show us pictures and talk all night. But Colin Smith was born to his family. Him and his wife are celebrating new grandparent status. But the baby's in Fairbanks, Alaska. And I think Charles is planning a trip in January, but I think Grandma's already up there, right? She's already there. So anybody that would like to have Charles come over to the house and have dinner with them, he's open to those opportunities.
And he can share about the street projects with you.
Yeah, or
Right there.
or if you have coupons to McDonald's or something that you'll share with him, I think he would take those. He'll be batching it for about a month, which is interesting because it's over the holiday season, so. I'll bring you some turkey or something, Charles. Okay. Mike Strange sent me an email this week, and I wanted to make note of Blake Evans and Matt Donahue, who both work for us at the water treatment plant, and both of them have completed, or water sewer maintenance, I'm sorry. Both of them have completed their distribution 2 test and passed, and also Evans has completed and passed the collections 2 sewer and water test, and that's a big milestone for both of those guys, and we appreciate the efforts they're going to better prepare themselves to serve our community. Amber had said this, and I just want to remind everybody, happy Thanksgiving. The town wishes everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and want to remind everybody that the town hall will be closed, and the event center will be closed on the 24th and 25th in observance of Thanksgiving. But also, I always like to mention that we do have people that will be working over the holiday season, and that's our fire and police, the water treatment, wastewater treatment personnel, as well as some of our parks and the golf course. After Thanksgiving Day, I think we'll be back open in some of those places to allow our citizens a place maybe to go work off some of that turkey and dressing and the cranberry sauce. So. Also, you may have or may not have seen our good friend at the airport, John Black, was recognized by he received the prestigious Airport Executive Partnership Award through the National Air Transportation Association. This is a great award and speaks highly of our airport, and we all know what a great job John Black does at the airport for us, and I just wanted to recognize John tonight and congratulate him on such a nice award. Next, I want to talk about 2 of our police officers. We recently had a pinning ceremony, and also these 2 officers, Officer FTO Trey Carr and Officer Luke Weiser, received a life-saving award. They were recognized by their lieutenant, Earl Barnes. We had a call for an accident on Florence Road, and when we got there, the car had actually gone into the creek and was upside down, and the car was filling with water. Both these gentlemen made their way down and realized the person in the car had found an air pocket at the back of the cab of the vehicle and was able to breathe. They were trying to get into the car and unfortunately could not because of the accident and the damage that was done to the door and the door jams. But luckily, our fire department was able to get there, and they were able to keep the person from panicking. The fire department was able to get there and extricate this individual out of the car. So we just wanted to recognize them for their selflessness to go into the water. And I think Officer Carr actually dove under the water to get a visual inside the vehicle. So they very selfless act on their part, and we appreciate them. As you know, the fire department has just finished their annual food drive, and we want to recognize Cedar Grove Elementary, Stewartsboro Elementary, Smyrna Elementary, and the fire department and Walmart for the food drive. Chief, did you guys get a final number on your count?
No, sir, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, we're still working on that. And again, all this will go to benefiting the Nourish Food Bank. So I'm sure the mayor is going to remind us that now that the fire department has completed their food drive, we'll be working on the parade food drive, and I'm sure she'll have something that, she'll want to throw out there and all those kind of things. So I'll just leave it at that, Mayor. Also, I wanted to recognize a ribbon cutting that Todd Spearman and I had the honor of being at in Mid-State Oral Surgery and Implant Center. Had a grand opening, and we did attend. I'm very excited about them being part of our community. They are in about 4 or 5 locations here in the Middle Tennessee area. And I'm sorry, Heather was actually there with us as well that day. So I wanted to recognize Heather and welcome them, Mid-State Oral Surgery and Implant Center. And I know some of you will have some other ribbon cuttings that we participated in over the last couple of weeks. Another thing I wanted to mention tonight before I get into my soapbox, Rock Springs Elementary. I don't know how many of you saw that, but they're celebrating their 25 years in the town of Smyrna. So congratulations to Rock Springs Elementary, all the teachers and the principals and faculty that enhance the children's lives here in our community. Last, I won't spend too much time on this, but again, love where you live, folks. It's so much easier to take that trash to the receptacles at the service stations or your home or your business than to throw it out on our streets. Todd and I were going down Old Nashville Highway today, and I got to use my phone to call the streets department on Bluetooth. I wasn't holding the phone to pick up a mattress that somebody decided to dispose on the side of our road. We constantly battle this, and it's just, I would tell you, my wife and I had a little road trip this weekend, and we were in a couple of different states between here and southern Illinois, and we went through Kentucky and Indiana a little bit, and I don't see the litter like we see here, and not just in Smyrna, but all of Tennessee. And folks, it's a conscious decision you make to roll a window down or to put something in the back of your truck and let it, exhaust out into the community, or throw a bag or something out of the windows of your car. So please, love where you live. Take a little pride in our community. We have a beautiful community. Love where you live. And I'll leave it at that. And Mayor, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but we've got a very distinguished looking gentleman sitting to my left. And I know some people are thought maybe, Jeff Peach had shrunk in his chair a little bit or something. He wasn't as tall. I mean, he's still
finally mature.
he still dresses very dapper, as we know Jeff does. But we're glad to have Bob with us tonight.
Thank
and welcome him to our council.
Thank you.
Glad
to be here.
Yeah.
Great. Bob, anything tonight?
No, I'm good.
Great.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Raquel?
There is, should be a slide, there it is. So Smyrna Primary School had their Amazing Shake event last week, and we were able to participate. That's Assistant Town Manager Todd Spearman, Town Manager Brian Hercules, and myself. And at this event, the students learned the mechanics of a proper handshake and how to communicate with people in a professional setting. All the students did a great job, and so there will be some judging, some tabulations, and then there'll be another round at some point. So it was a good event to attend, and they were all fifth graders that participated in this event. So let's see. Also, congratulations on all the new babies. Condolences to the Campbell and Watson families. And just, I hope everyone has a safe and joyous Thanksgiving holiday. That's all I have, Mayor.
Great. HG?
Condolences to the ones already mentioned, and also condolences to Dottie Perry, whose brother-in-law, Les Wilson, just recently passed away, and her sister, Marilyn. Les was a good customer of mine and a fine fellow. We've also already mentioned the shopping local for tonight, but Black Friday is coming up this week, and so let's try to do that shopping here in town. And also, when you're in that line and somebody cuts in front of you, you don't know what's going on with them, so be kind to them, right, Mary Esther? Just be
Right.
kind to them.
But Black Friday is on Friday, but Small Business Saturday is the next
Thank you.
day. You're welcome.
You one-up me there a little bit. Now, here's the one you can't one-up me on. Tomorrow is my grandson Henry's 9th birthday, and he's just the finest little fellow you ever saw. He's played in a soccer tournament over the weekend, and I think he scored 3, maybe 4 goals.
Or 6, who knows?
Or yeah, could have been 10. Yeah,
I think he takes after his grandmama.
yeah. And that's all I've got. I hope everyone has a very nice Thanksgiving and safe.
And now it's the birthday boy, the belated birthday boy. Belated birthday boy, but only by a day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, I'll add my condolences as well as the congratulations to our Smyrna family. This past week, I was able to attend the grand opening and ribbon cutting for Mean Green Pest Pros. With me, Brian Hercules, Todd Spearman, Rex Gaither, Phil Wilson, our county commissioner. Heather, weren't you there? I thought you were.
There's the picture taker.
Yeah.
I'm at all of them.
You are at all of them. Again, another company that sees the value of being in Smyrna and offering services in Smyrna. A great story, and not coincidentally, I did wear green tonight, so I'm supporting Mean Green in both speech and shirt tonight, so.
Attire.
Yeah, attire, thank you. And I'll add happy Thanksgiving to all the folks in Smyrna.
Great. Jerry?
Just wanted to add on to what Brian said about Devontae. I really appreciate what he did the other day. We've got a great group of police officers and fire people, as we've talked about already tonight. So he made a stressful situation very calming. So I really want to say thank you to him. Tim, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
It looks like you've had a good one. So I know we've talked about some of the people that have passed away. I wanted to also add Dennis Suits to that. Dennis and I played basketball together in high school, and he passed away, I think, over the weekend. And so condolences to that family as well. I want to say congratulations to Kerry Todd. Kerry's a good friend of mine, and he recently was inducted into the Rutherford County Baseball Hall of Fame, and so congratulations to Kerry. Kerry played ball for a long time. He played baseball at Smyrna, and then he went to Cumberland, and then Western Kentucky, I believe it was, Western or Austin Peay. And then he was inducted last week, so congratulations, Kerry. My daughter-in-law's got a birthday coming up at the end of this week, so happy birthday to Jamie. And then lastly, I want to say also happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and just hope you have a great time and enjoy the holiday.
Great.
Oh.
Steve?
Tim, happy birthday. I understand it was a significant one. And,
It was.
He's Medicare eligible, but we won't tell his age.
I was going to say the benefits that we discussed today may or may not apply to you, but I didn't want to say anything. Condolences to Gary Winton and Tony Campbell in the death of their parents, Gary's mom and Tony's dad. I spent the day today in the hospital in Murfreesboro with my mom, had hip replacement surgery today. Just before council meeting, about 4 o'clock, I found out that she was in recovery, doing well. My dad was visiting with her, so I left the hospital and came to council. While we were here, I got a text that she's been moved to a room and is requesting Demas's chicken and rice soup. So I think that means she's doing pretty well. My wife is there with her, and I'm going to find out if I'm supposed to head back or wait till tomorrow.
And get the soup.
Yeah, well, I asked her if she was getting it. She said, I just picked it up.
Okay,
So
good.
the soup is already en route.
Good.
And then the last thing, of course, is Thanksgiving. 401 years ago this year was the first Thanksgiving. And one thing that, a lot of us see it as a day to get with family and participate in a little gluttony and maybe a little Black Friday shopping. But I would encourage you not to forget what it's really about, and that's giving thanks for all the things that God has given you and the provisions that you have. And that's really the entire point. The first Thanksgiving was Thanksgiving for a great harvest for the very first year for the Americans, which is what led to us still being here. So enjoy your time, enjoy time with family and the meal, but also remember to give thanks. That's it.
Mark.
So I think I got a slide coming up, but I'll mention Bella Vista Coffee Shop. We did the grand opening over there this past week. Attending was, of course, Heather, right? Myself, Tim Morrell, Town Manager Brian Hercules, Assistant Town Manager Todd Spearman, and County Commissioner Phil Wilson. They had a great story behind, they're expanding actually. They were in a smaller place and needed more space. So they're doing good business, as Tim mentioned. They love Smyrna and want to continue to do more business here. Officer Carr was mentioned, and I had an email come to me this week. I assume it's the same Officer Carr. I don't know if we have two, but if it's not, it's the same. And one of our constituents in town had stopped to shop local HG, and Officer Carr was actually offering a citation to somebody, but this constituent told me in the manner in which she was witnessing him do this, he offered so much grace to the people, and they were receptive to that. Even though there's probably a citation involved, they felt like this guy really applied the golden rule and did his job beyond the call of duty. So I told her I would mention Officer Carr tonight and make sure he got his accolades. If that's the same Officer Carr that helped save those people in that wreck, then Officer Carr's out there doing a wonderful job. A grandson was mentioned. I had a grandson turn 4 years old yesterday. So Ledger, happy birthday and happy Thanksgiving to everybody, council, director, staff, employees. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you with your families.
Great. Couple of housekeeping items. We hope that you will join us tomorrow night at 6 p.m. on Front Street for our lighting ceremony. This is a new location. The ceremony will be held outside, so dress appropriately, even though I don't think it's going to be really, really cold like it has been. I think it may be a little bit warmer. And activities will be provided by the Smyrna Outdoor Adventure Center. There'll be live Christmas music performed by the Smyrna High School Jazz Band. There will be a kids sing-along that Brian Hercules will be leading. There will be food trucks that will be on site, and photos with Santa and Mrs. Claus will be provided by the Smyrna Fire and Police Department. So we hope you'll all come out and hear Brian sing tomorrow night. Our Town of Smyrna Christmas Parade is already here, and this will be Sunday, December the 4th at 2 p.m. It will start at Mayfield Drive and go all the way to Nolan. Along the parade route, town personnel will collect non-perishable food items from spectators and participants as they check in, and the parade food drive is in partnership with Nourish Food Bank. So we encourage you to come out, but also bring items to help those in need around our community. Our Veterans Day ceremony was a huge success. We were grateful to honor the veterans and all those who have served and are thankful for their service. We had speakers from the VFW, Commander Darrell Burke and Major General Jeff Holmes with the National Guard were here, and the Smyrna High School Choir did a great job. We had quite a few in attendance from the town as well as state and county commissioners. Exciting ribbon cutting. The market at Victory House, which has Heavenly Treats for You, had their grand opening, and we were really excited to be there. This has a little bit of a personal note for my family. This was my grandparents' home for my entire childhood, and so it's nice to see that it's going to stay here in the town, and I highly encourage you to go by and check it out. They have lots of options if you're needing to provide something, some sort of little gift basket or some sort of little treat, whether it's going to somebody's house for Thanksgiving, an event, birthday, or Christmas. So go by and check them out. The town manager and I hosted a lunch and discussed our Sister City program along with the Jeff Coos Memorial, and we ended up the afternoon of the Smyrna part with the town with touring the Captain Jeff Coos Memorial with Leadership Middle Tennessee, and we were glad to have them all here in attendance. And I think they may have been the first group to see it since it's been painted, I think.
It probably were,
So,
yes.
I was
Yep.
just gonna ask you, how does the paint look?
It looks unbelievable.
Very good.
It looks so good. So even probably better than when we got it.
I sent a picture to Lenore as well at the museum, and she said thanks for that and that it looks amazing, so.
Actually, Landy with the Blues came in. They were traveling through to Kentucky, and was it last week, Brian?
Last week.
Last week they came in, and anytime they're close, they always make a stop by to check out the plane, and he sent me a text and said that she looked beautiful and that he was so proud of the way the town is making sure the upkeep of the memorial is taken care of. So I'm sure he was, also his first time, he and his wife's first time getting to see the Freedom Playground. So they were very impressed, but excited to be coming back in June to see us. Yes, sir.
Mayor, one of the things I want, changing subjects a little bit, you mentioned the tree lighting tomorrow night. I actually have had the opportunity to be on the phone today with a couple of our citizens, and I just wanted to share something. And I think there's some Facebook posts out there about what we're doing this year, and some people concerned about the town not being lit up, you know, on Enon Springs and Old Nashville Highway and those kinds of things. The conversations I had with the people I talked to today about this, they were very understanding once they understood what we were doing. But, you know, as we talked about that last year when we began to budget, you know, we have some ornaments that we have put out over the years that are, some of them are 25 and 30 years old. They're really kind of worn out. Our Building Grounds Department has spent multiple hours relining the lights and all of those kind of things. And it takes us 30 days to decorate the town because of the shape some of these ornaments are in and trying to keep them together to put out.
With a really small department.
With a
doing
really
it.
small department, and then it takes another 30 days to go take them down. So it's very labor intense. It's time for some of those ornaments to be retired. And that was the decision we made this year. The expense of going back and relighting the whole town with some of those ornaments was astronomical. So, you know, what we've done is we've really tried to create something very special at the depot for our community. I think if people will come down and see what's going to be presented tomorrow night, and realize that this is something that not only will they be able to ride by, but they can stop, they can get out and make pictures. You know, when we talk about a 30-foot tall Christmas tree with 18,000 LED lights on it, a 12-foot ornament that's lit up that you can walk through, that you can make pictures and those kind of things. Hopefully it will become a family-friendly environment in the downtown area, and help, you know, people be able to enjoy it at a much larger scale than what we can do down there. And then hope, you know, the next thing we'd hope is that, you know, maybe while they're down there, they'd like to walk over to Carpe Artista and have some hot chocolate, or to Gennardi's and have ice cream, or walk across the street to the Red Bicycle or La Tabola and partake in a meal with their families and stuff. So, you know, I hope people understand it was just one of those things. It was time to make some changes. That doesn't mean down the road we can't continue to grow our displays. We will continue to light up all the fire departments, the town event center, and also here at City Hall will be lit up around the roof lines and those kind of things. So there will be some other lighting that they'll be able to see and participate. But some of those ornaments were just at a point where they just no longer were feasible to use. So that's the reason we're making a change. I think I've been called the Grinch that stole Christmas a little bit, and that was not the intent. It was to make it something we could be proud of as a community. So just wanted to share those thoughts.
Great. Council, any comments to that? I think it's the right decision at this time. So, a couple of personal things. Condolences to Gary. Gary Winton is from Motlow, and his mom attended a lot of our events. Mother Winton was at almost every Motlow event, and then at quite a few of the town of Smyrna's. So, and Steve, I hope your mama gets to feeling better. We did not talk about the Vanderbilt project that we got to go look at. Brian, myself, Charles, Tom, got to attend one day this week. I can't remember which day.
It was Friday of last week.
Oh, it was Friday of last week. But it's pretty interesting to see the technology that is out there, rather than looking at adding more lanes to the interstates, what things might be coming in the future. So, and it's happening right here in Middle Tennessee, right here on I-24 that they were doing the study. So thanks to them for allowing us to come down and listen.
Yeah, Nissan participated in that too. There was 100 rogues utilizing the autonomous driving technology. There were people in the cars, but
Right.
the speed of those cars was being controlled remotely, and sped up and slowed down to help with the flow of traffic. So pretty cool technology.
Well, and they have the cameras. Once you go up and down, you can see all of the cameras way up, pretty much between, it was.
From Haywood Lane
from-
back to Sam Ridley, I believe was.
Did
wasn't
it
that
go all the way to Sam Ridley?
Yep.
Sam really all the way into that Haywood Lane.
And it was really interesting, but how many different car companies participated? You know, sometimes there's so much proprietary information and all that, but I think everybody is seeing the need for how can we alleviate some of this congestion? And so it was pretty interesting to see
Yeah.
the whole study being done.
Yeah, if you want to get more information about it, that program is called Circles.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you can Google Circles I-24 or Circles.
It's actually called the I-24 motion, and go to t.gov. Go to our.
Okay.
So what was it?
I-24 motion.
I-24 motion.
And then Circles is also part of that. It's part of,
Yeah.
they said that section of road was considered right now the largest test bed for this technology in the world. I-24 corridor from Smyrna to Haywood Lane was the largest investment they've made in this type of technology today.
And that people all over the world were asking to be able to come in to use some of the sensors and that sort of thing. So
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting.
Some of the decision makers of that project must drive to Nashville from here every day.
Last but not least, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving. I feel very blessed to work with this group of people. I feel very blessed to live in a community in which we do. And I just want to thank all of our town employees for making Smyrna a better place. Each one of you make all of us sitting up here look really good. And don't forget those neighbors of ours that live in the town that are struggling, whether it's emotionally or whether it's monetarily or physically. We've got neighbors who are in need, and I think that's one of the things that Smyrna is the best at, is stepping up and helping neighbor. So I wish you nothing but the best over Thanksgiving, and if nothing else, then we are adjourned.
Thanks for having me. Happy Thanksgiving.